As bullets rained down on Omaha Beach and bodies fell all around, one unarmed man ran toward the gunfire, not to fight, but to save. By nightfall, over 100 soldiers were alive because of him. Yet history forgot his name. Until now. Before we dive in, if you love true stories of courage and sacrifice, make sure to subscribe. The wind howled over Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944. The sky above Normandy bled gray and thundered with the relentless buzz of aircraft engines. The sea churned with boats, bullets, and blood. The world was on fire, and hell had made its home on the French coast. In the chaos, amidst machine gun fire and mortar shells, a man emerged, not clad in glory, nor recognized by rank, but carved by duty and love for the men around him. His name was James "Jimmy" Monroe, a 28-year-old combat medic from Des Moines, Iowa. Jimmy grew up in the cornfields of Iowa, the son of a quiet farmer and a school teacher. From the time he was 10, he had a knack for patching up injured animals and bruised neighbors. His hands were steady, his heart unshakable. When the war came, he didn't pick up a rifle. He picked up a medic's bag. "I ain't a killer," he told his younger brother before he shipped off. "But I can damn well keep someone alive." He trained at Fort Sam Houston, where instructors noticed his unusually fast and calm response under pressure. By early 1944, he was assigned to the 116th Infantry Regiment of the 29th Division, the very unit that would land at Omaha Beach on D-Day. At 6:32 a.m., Jimmy's landing craft slammed into the surf. The ramp dropped, and the world exploded. Machine gun fire ripped through the first line of soldiers before they even touched the sand. Men screamed, some in pain, others in fear. The water turned red. Bullets snapped overhead like angry hornets. The Germans were dug in deep, their bunkers high above the beach, with perfect sight lines for slaughter. Jimmy didn't hesitate. He dove into the surf and dragged a screaming private from the blood-stained water. The boy's leg was torn to shreds. "Hold on, soldier. You ain't dying today," Jimmy growled, tying a tourniquet with one hand while dragging the boy with the other. Again and again, he ran into the fire. While others hugged cover, Jimmy moved like a ghost, fearless, focused. He carried morphine, bandages, tourniquets, and one prayer he kept whispering to himself, "Let me get to the next one." By 9 a.m., Jimmy had treated or evacuated nearly 24 wounded. By noon, the number was over 50. By nightfall, that number had climbed to over 100. He moved through the shrapnel-laced battlefield like a man possessed. He pulled men from burning tanks. He shielded others with his own body while applying pressure to wounds. At one point, a German sniper caught sight of him helping a wounded soldier and aimed only to lower the scope moments later. Even the enemy recognized something sacred in what Jimmy was doing. His hands never stopped. Blood soaked through his uniform until it was more red than green. He stitched, injected, breathed life into collapsed lungs, and kept men alive long enough for them to be ferried to the makeshift aid stations further inland. A young soldier named Tom Riley, just 19, remembered Jimmy's voice as he faded in and out of consciousness. "You'll make it, son. Your mama's not burying you today." Tom lived. And so did nearly 100 others, men who should have died on that cursed beach, men whose lives were stitched back together by the farm boy from Iowa. When the beach was finally secured, the headlines praised generals and battalions. Medals were handed out, ceremonies conducted. But Jimmy Monroe, exhausted and broken from the day's horrors, was overlooked. He never asked for recognition. After the war, he returned to Des Moines. He married a nurse he'd met at a field hospital in Belgium, started a small veterinary clinic, and lived a quiet life. He rarely spoke about the war, and when he did, he only mentioned the men he couldn't save. Not the 100 he did. In 1998, during preparations for the 60th anniversary of D-Day, a historian named Clara Benton stumbled upon a faded field report written by Lieutenant George Mackenzie. In the margins of that report were scribbled lines. If not for Monroe, half this unit wouldn't have made it past the surf. I saw him drag men through gunfire, patch wounds under fire, and run toward explosions like he was chasing life itself. That man saved over 100. No doubt. Clara was stunned. She tried to find records of Monroe's medal citations. There were none. She tracked down veterans, survivors of Omaha Beach. Nearly a dozen could still recall Jimmy the medic. Each had a story. Each owed their life to him. One, an 83-year-old retired firefighter in Boston, wept as he spoke. He looked me in the eye and said, "I got you." And he did. My leg was gone, but he carried me over his shoulder like I was made of feathers. He saved me. I named my grandson after him. In 2004, the Department of Defense posthumously awarded Jimmy Monroe the Distinguished Service Cross. The ceremony was held at the Iowa State Capitol. His daughter, Elizabeth Monroe, accepted the medal. She stood with tears in her eyes, holding a photo of her father in his worn medic uniform. There were no parades for him when he came home, she said. He never asked for any, but today we remember what he did. Not just as a soldier, but as a man who believed every life mattered, no matter the cost. Veterans flew in from all over the country to attend. They stood in wheelchairs and with canes, saluting the man who saved them all those years ago. Jimmy's story may have been buried in the sands of Normandy, but the lives he saved lived on, raising families, building towns, serving their communities. His impact echoed quietly in Sunday dinners, wedding toasts, and grandchildren born decades after the guns had gone silent. They were alive because of him. In Des Moines, a small statue now stands outside the VA hospital. It's not grand, just a bronze figure of a medic kneeling over a wounded soldier. The inscription reads, "He ran into fire with hope in his hands. James Monroe, combat medic." D-Day, 1944. America is built on the stories of people like Jimmy Monroe, ordinary men and women who rise in extraordinary moments. Jimmy didn't carry a weapon. He didn't fire a single shot, but he waged war against death itself. And he won, over 100 times. Let us not let his memory fade again, because heroism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet man on a bloody beach, whispering hope into a dying soldier's ear. And sometimes that man saves 100 lives and asks for nothing in return. For every name etched in stone, there are hundreds more, written only in the hearts of those they saved. Jimmy Monroe was one of those. A forgotten hero, remembered at last.